This is Christine Brown, and while I have to listen to this podcast as my motherly duty, you have the choice not to. My sons, and of course Michael, sometimes say some naughty things when they're trying to be funny, but really, they're just being stupid. You still want to listen? Go right ahead. I am not your mother.
Welcome back to yet another playoff podcast. Special playoff episode, I guess you could say, the Patriots Dynasty podcast. This week is the 2001 AFC Championship game, which we are subtitling the Drew Bledsoe Renaissance. I don't know if we are. I made that up literally right now. So
nice.
Yeah, glad you like it. With us today, we have the brothers again, Steve and Greg. And we also have another special guest who, I guess for this podcast, we're calling Good Steve, we've decided.
Well, better Steve.
Bald Steve?
Whoa.
Yeah, either one works.
Less
Steve.
cunty Steve.
Wow.
Off to a rousing start. And so, yes, less shitty Steve is a Steelers fan, so we'll let you call him what you will as listeners. So, Steve, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
And you are, as we said, a Steelers fan. That is correct, right? You haven't been lying to everybody? All right.
100%.
No, he's not a Steelers fan. His dog is named Heinz.
No, that's true.
Indeed. After Heinz Ward, not after the stadium.
Dude, that was what I was wondering, actually.
Not after the catch-up?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the ketchup.
It's not the ketchup.
The dog does
Heinz
love food, Steve.
He does love food. This is true, but what dog doesn't?
So he's named after Ben Roethlisberger.
No, that's the next dog.
Oh, Jesus.
Really? You're going to name your next dog Big Ben or something like that?
I mean, if I have my way, yeah, but probably not going to happen.
God, you got a fiance.
It carries a negative connotation these days.
Yeah, a little bit.
Stop pumping my
Yeah,
leg,
that's
Big
true.
Ben.
It makes it even worse because I'm an FSU fan, so I had to deal with Big Ben and Jameis Winston. So
Oh,
How did you get that combination? So where are you from? The Pittsburgh area?
my family's from Pittsburgh, so I was born there, and then we moved to Jacksonville, Florida when I was like 2 years old or something like that. So I just grew up watching all Pittsburgh sports with my grandpa. None of them were college fans, and I just kind of adopted Florida State growing up in Florida.
Wow, that's
Well, you did
tough
go
luck
to
of the
Florida
draw.
State for like a semester, too.
Yeah, I did go there for a semester, yeah.
I know how that goes. I went to Penn State
Yes,
for a
you
semester.
Yeah.
That didn't last long. All right, so that's I'd say that's reasonable. We've had some other fans on here. We had last week we had a Raiders fan on who became a Raiders fan because of hip hop.
Yeah.
So
Whoa, okay.
yeah,
hey, we don't fan base judge around here, okay?
no, that's what I'm saying. It was just I'm always curious to know how people got into this, like got into following a certain team, especially if they're not living in that area. So it's kind of cool. So, all right. So we're talking about the 2001 Steelers. And before we started recording, Not Shitty Steve was saying that you were what, like 9 years old at the time?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a little. I think I was like 11 or 12. I was still pretty young, and that was like only my second or third year really following football. 'Cause I remember like a couple years before that we weren't very good, and then that was the first year in Heinz Field. Actually,
Oh, that's right. It was.
was that 2001 season?
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody had trouble kicking in that one end zone, kicking field goals.
Yeah, the open end that opens to the river there.
Yeah. Including Chris Brown this season.
Our cousin.
Yeah. You say that every time a Brown is mentioned.
Yeah, all Browns are cousins.
That's weird, but all right. We're not cousins, Steve. You and me.
That's true. I wish.
A loophole. Brutal. Yeah, because I was actually looking it up in Chris Brown. I was wondering what was going on because he made 68% of his field goals this season, which was not great. Yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
it's like Bucks kicker level.
Yeah, it's definitely on that level, but he still played the whole season. And this,
Did
I mean,
he
I think
play
this is
the
his
next
only
season?
season. Not for the Steelers, he didn't. No,
Okay.
I think he went out to play for the Texans for a few years. And did okay because he was in a
Yeah, it
dome,
was
I
short.
guess.
I don't remember if there was a kicker between him and Jeff Reed, but I want to say Jeff Reed years were shortly after.
That could
this
be right,
season. Yeah.
Yeah, he did not last long.
So do you remember watching this game live, Steve?
Yeah, I do actually. I remember watching that whole playoffs live. Like the week before we had beaten the Ravens, they were the only loss we had in Heinz Field that year, and that was actually Tony Saragusa's last game
Oh yeah.
for the Ravens, and it were all time actually. Period. He retired after that season, and then so we were the number 1 seed, and I remember thinking for sure we were gonna, go to the Super Bowl, and obviously that did not happen. So.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. Everybody thought the Patriots were going to get stomped in this game.
That's
and
true.
the Ravens the week before, they were the defending Super Bowl champions too.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that was a
We
big deal.
crushed them, I think it was like 27-10 the week before.
Yeah, absolutely annihilated them. And I still remember because this was the one game I didn't watch of the playoffs because I was working at the time.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah,
some fan you are.
I was working at that that retirement home, like in the kitchen cleaning dishes. So I had a little like portable FM radio with me, and it would only pick up the game in one spot in the kitchen. So I would like run to that spot in the kitchen and stand there in a certain position to make sure I got the reception, and then run back and clean some dishes, and keep going back and forth. So
It's
I
a
actually
lost
listened to
art.
it
the
is.
radio,
I was,
the radio sports.
Commitment.
yeah, it is. So I would clean dishes between like in commercial breaks. So this is actually the first time I watched this full game.
Really?
Which, yeah, I didn't realize, but I'm like, I don't remember any of this. Like, I've seen the highlights and stuff, obviously, a bunch of times,
Right,
but I don't
right.
remember like half of these plays.
Yeah, because that was the thing too. You couldn't really look up games after the fact there. Like now we can just, they'll show it on NFL replay. You can find it online. But back then, you missed the game, you're fucked. You can watch prime time on Sunday night, but it'll give you like a 4-minute clip.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's just highlights.
Yeah, this game's on YouTube.
The beginning of the game, Gil and Gino, the radio announcers, said something along the lines of,
I'm happy to report that despite all the prognostications of doom, the Patriots have shown up here today and will take the field against the Steelers.
and that was like how we led into this because of
I
how
love it.
heavily favored the Steelers were.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good Steelers team though. Like you look at that roster,
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
there's a shitload of names that jump out.
Do you have any favorites, Steve?
Yeah, I remember. Well, he didn't turn out to be my favorites, but it was actually the first jersey I ever bought, and that was Kendrell Bell, linebacker for the
Really?
Steelers. I think. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
I think that was his rookie year. I
Kendrell
think he was defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I think they
And,
said that.
yeah, I heard them mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like the defensive rookie of the year that year, and I was like a huge fan. And then he had that great season, kind of fizzled out, ended up in Kansas City, and didn't really pan out there. I think he only played like 4 or 5 years in the league, actually.
What
He was
other
a Pro
players on
Bowler
that
this
team do
season,
you have
though.
jerseys of?
I had a Cordell Stewart jersey, had a Heinz Ward jersey, which I still have actually.
I've seen that.
I think that's it from those years, actually.
All right.
Oh, and Jerome Bettis, actually.
Oh,
Really?
damn it. I was
Yeah.
I was looking at the roster. I'm like, oh, good. He didn't have a Bettis. And then you said that.
Yeah, I had a Bettis. I don't anymore. Like, that was when I was way smaller, but yeah, I used to have a Bettis jersey.
What is your like general like memories of Jerome Bettis? Because he's a vintage type player, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I actually got to meet him once at a Steelers-Jaguars game. I think
Really?
it might have been that year, actually. It was like, so the Steelers were in Jacksonville, and we hung out near the buses after the game and got to shake his hand and got his autograph on a football. But I remember I was pretty young at the time, but I just remember how massive he freaking looked. Like, his legs just looked like tree trunks. And just like, I mean, he definitely wasn't like the prettiest running back, but he was good to get you, 3.5 to 4 yards of carry, just straight up the gut. And one of my favorite memories, I remember when he just absolutely trucked Brian Urlacher
Oh, really?
in a game in Chicago. So, yeah, I was a huge Bettis fan.
Stat check that, Greg?
Stat check.
Check what?
I don't know, Steve's memory.
Did he ever?
Well, he averaged 3.9 yards a carry over his career.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve.
I think he's the only Hall of Fame running back that averaged less than 4 yards a carry.
Oh,
I remember his stats were always like 4 carries, 3 yards, 2 touchdowns, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like that.
do you want me
That
to
was.
give you,
he definitely had a few games like that towards the end of his career.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Greg?
oh, you want me to give you a play-by-play of the stat check?
Sure.
Sure.
We're in the snow here from the 5-yard line. Roethlisberger hands it off to Bettis. Urlacher fills the gap, and he just gets trucked. Bettis just like stood him up and then just kept churning until he looked like a meat grinder. He just got caught underneath the bus.
That's what happens.
Yeah, what a great nickname. One of the all-time great football nicknames.
One of my like memories of this game actually was like I was like 10 years old, and like the bus was the big nickname going around, and I remember thinking like, oh, the school bus doesn't run on Sundays, and thinking I was like the cleverest little shit ever. I was like, Dad, I'm gonna make a poster board.
Did you?
I don't think I ever did it, but
That's
All right,
100%
that's pretty
something you
great.
would do.
yeah.
I mean, he was wearing yellow, so.
And it was gonna be like a picture of like a broken down bus. I had a whole thing that I was gonna do.
So, Steve.
Funnily enough, he's not even the Steelers' all-time leading rusher.
Wait,
Who is the
all right,
all-time
let's
leading
trivia
rusher?
this. Let's trivia this. We can get this, guys.
Franco
Franco Harris.
Harris would be my guess.
Yeah, it's Franco Harris.
Oh, it is?
Wow.
Okay.
Because the Bucs played his first 3 seasons with the Rams.
Oh, that's right. He did. I forgot about those years.
I had no idea about that.
The
Yeah.
LA Rams.
Yeah, that's when he was called the Battering Ram instead of the Bucs.
Oh, wow. Also a great name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a round mound of rushing yards.
That didn't rhyme.
Yeah, round mound of touchdown. Jeez, Andy.
That doesn't rhyme either, you fucking idiot.
Is it
Mound
does?
pound. Golly.
What do you mean it doesn't rhyme?
Doesn't end with a D.
Oh, okay, Andy.
Oh,
That's how rhyming works.
It is, you fucking god damn it.
Golly.
I'm not even gonna look up the word, but fuck it.
You want me to stat check?
No.
Stat check. Just mound and down rhyme.
All right. Good Steve.
That
as
is less shitty, Steve.
he was until you guys started shitting on me. Now he's good Steve. I like him better the more I talk to you. As a Steelers fan, what's your view of the Patriots? Because we've got a bunch of answers when we ask this question.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's obvious. I have like a lot of respect for them and what they've been able to do. Just it's kind of ridiculous the success they've had, but also like I'd be lying if I wouldn't say it's a little bitter towards them as well because I just think of all the Super Bowls the Steelers would have if it wasn't for Belichick and Brady. So
Yeah, I felt
mean,
the Steelers in
but-
particular have been,
Whipping boys?
I
Yeah,
was going to say, stymied more than anybody else in the playoffs. But yeah.
yeah, for sure.
We have had a great record against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Especially in the big.
Oh yeah.
In the playoffs especially, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you even look at the 2 years that the Steelers won the Super Bowl with Roethlisberger. We didn't play the Patriots because they got knocked out. I think 1 year by the Ravens. And I'm not sure of the other year.
The Jets,
Absolutely,
I
but-
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has knowing me changed your opinion of the Patriots?
Not for the better.
Oh, it's made it worse.
Yeah. That's 100% true. Wow, the Patriots have
saying-
only ever played the Steelers like since like the Belichick Brady era in the AFC conference game, in the AFC Championship game.
No.
That
Yeah.
can't
Me
be
and
right.
Steve have been to 2 games in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and they're both. It was 2001, 2004, and 2016
No, you're saying what you're
we
talking
went-
about the
we went
playoffs.
back to
in the
back
playoffs.
years.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
I thought you meant
The only playoff games the Patriots have played against Steelers have been in the AFC
AFC
Championship, game,
championships.
which is
Yep.
probably why for Steve it hurts that much more because it's that last game to get in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, can't get over
Yep.
it.
And I think 2 of those games were in Pittsburgh, maybe.
They were.
I know
the
this one
first
was
2
0-1.
were, yeah.
Yeah,
04 was
16
as well,
wasn't,
because
but-
that was that cold game when you
Yeah.
guys had it was Roethlisberger's rookie year, I think.
rookie
They went,
year.
like,
Yeah, they went
15-1.
15-1.
Yeah.
Yep, 15-1, and I mean, I'm not going to complain too much because they came back and won it the next year, but yeah,
Oh, that's right.
would have been nice to get that one. Yeah, because that year we beat the Patriots and the Eagles, and I think it was like within 3 weeks of each other.
That
Both
week,
games were in October.
Yeah, the Steelers' victory over the Patriots was the one that broke their 21-game win streak.
Oh, yeah, I remember that game.
On Halloween.
Yes.
Yep.
How much candy did you eat, Greg, to get over that?
I don't know why I remember that it was Halloween, but
I don't
Yeah.
either. But you said that more than once, I think. Oh, boy.
All right, so I got a question for good Steve.
I thought he was less shitty, Steve.
He was. He's growing on us.
So, Bill Cowher or Mike Tomlin? Who are you taking?
Mm.
Oh, that's tough. Honestly, I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan. I mean, I loved Cowher, but I think it's I especially after everything that came out with Antonio Brown this year.
Yeah,
I have a lot of respect for Mike Tomlin and like him just keeping that under wraps for as long as he did.
That's fair.
So
yeah.
I still think he's pretty young. I think he's got more Super Bowls ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like keeping a culture together outside of the Pats,
Yeah.
it's, you talk about like spanning more than 10 years with having like consistently winning seasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
Patriots, Steelers,
Colts,
maybe the
Steve.
a
Ravens.
while there, but
Tomlin or Chuck
Yeah,
Noll.
I mean, obviously. What's that?
Tomlin or Chuck Noll.
Well, I wasn't alive during the 70s, so obviously Noel had a lot more success than Tomlin's had, but I can't even really comment on that. I don't really claim to.
or Lance Allworth.
Lynn
Well,
Swan.
consider name my dog after Heinz Ward. I'm going to go with Heinz Ward.
Oh,
Like
Steve.
best blocking wide receiver in NFL history.
Yeah, I have to say, after watching this game, I remember the fury that he would instill in me.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was one of those guys that I think kind of like the Rodney Harrison of the team, where you fucking love him if he's on your team.
You
But
hate
you're
him.
playing
Oh,
against him, you're like, that fucking dirty fuck.
Yeah.
I hope he stays in bounds.
Oh,
so
yeah. I
somebody
mean,
can
he
take
would
his
blindside
goddamn head
block
off.
people all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bad marking. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I think he broke Keith Rivers' jaw. Like, you're talking a linebacker for the Bengals.
That's right,
and,
yeah.
I mean, he was vicious.
Didn't that kind of start the whole, like, Steelers-Bengals feud, too?
I mean,
I
not
think it
really.
was-
The Bengals still sucked for a few more years.
Yeah, but the games
Um,
were always, like, super chippy after that, though. Like, in
Oh yeah,
Especially in the
definitely.
playoffs.
And I mean, the NFL changed the rules because of Heinz Ward with a lot of those blocks. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
couldn't
remember
get away today with like what you used to do. So
I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's still doing it. To what the fuck is his
yeah, and he
name?
got a suspension for it,
Yeah, he
but
did.
I'm okay with that because Vontez Burfict's a piece of shit.
That's
so.
what it was, yes.
Yeah.
And then he stood over him. I think that's what got him the
That's,
suspension.
Perfect probably had that coming.
Oh, he's had
Oh,
that
yeah.
coming for years, yeah.
I was watching that game with you, Steve, that playoff game against the Bengals. When Perfect.
Oh yeah, we were in a
hit
DC.
at Ugly Mug or whatever it was.
Yeah,
You know what the-
you were super hot then too.
You know what the pop culture the equivalent of that is of the Vontez Burfict thing is Weinstein getting coronavirus. Where you're like, yeah, I don't want to see it happen to anybody, but if it was going to happen to someone,
That's the guy.
that asshole.
That's a good one, Greg. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's a great.
It's a deep
great
cut, but you
call.
got there.
Yeah.
I was worried.
That's why I had to interrupt. Sorry to whoever I interrupted.
I appreciate it. All right, let's see. All right, so here's a good question for you. We haven't had great luck. Well, I haven't had great luck asking this question to other people because we've been asking Panthers and Raiders fans there weren't any. But do you have a favorite Patriots Steeler game?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it didn't turn out that great for us for the season. But the game 2 years ago at Heinz Field, where the Steelers won it with an interception by Joe Hayden at the end of the game.
Oh,
just because I was actually at that game, so
oh no,
it was a blast.
It's a good game to be at.
Yeah, me and Shitty Steve were there. So,
Steve, you might have a new name.
We were also at the year before when Roethlisberger picked it. Oh.
And that is probably my, other than the AFC Championship games, that is definitely my least favorite. I was red hot.
That game was crazy.
Which AFC Championship game?
That wasn't the AFC Championship game. I said other than the AFC Championship games.
Yeah, but which one? Because there was 3 where we beat you.
Yeah, 3 times.
No shit. Probably. Yeah.
That you were a game away.
So this was number 4.
I didn't watch it. What's that?
Was this was that fake spike one the 4th one, or
your 4th least favorite?
My 4th least favorite?
Right. Or does one of the AFC Championships really stick out as a?
Oh, I mean, definitely 2004 really sticks out.
Yeah,
we were 15-1. I thought we were going all the way.
Yeah, I mean, even in 2001, this Steeler team was a fucking wagon.
Yeah, their defense was legit.
Yeah, I had it here. They were first in rushing yards and rushing defense in both yards and touchdowns. They were fucking unstoppable on the ground. And yet in this game, it felt like they just didn't even run it for whatever reason. No. They came out slinging the ball.
Yeah, Cordell threw 3 interceptions, I think, in that game.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there.
And 2 points.
Yeah.
You want to know my favorite Patriots Steelers game?
Yes.
1996 Fog Bowl.
Oh.
Remember that?
No.
Barely.
I do not know.
It was the Patriots' first ever home playoff game.
Drew Bledsoe and Terry Glenn.
Yes. Versus Neil O'Donnell and the Steelers.
Holy shit, Neil O'Donnell. The guy didn't have an upper lip.
Yeah. Greg Lloyd. Remember Greg Lloyd, the linebacker for the Steelers? That was
linebacker. Yeah.
Dude, Steelers linebackers, they're a different breed, I feel like. Because they always have that cool predator face mask. They all do for some reason.
And they look like
the black helmets. Yeah, and they're just fucking terrifying looking people.
Just wait till we get J.J. Watt next year on the other side of T.J. Watt.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I saw that article, but I didn't read it because it looked shitty. What is the rumor going around, though?
I don't think there's any legs to it, but there is. I mean, we got his brother. We got 2 of the brothers now, and I think J.J. would love to play for the Steelers. Just kind of what you hear, on message boards or whatever, but I just don't really think it'll happen.
I don't know.
Texans did, though.
Trade him for a bag of practice balls or something like that.
This
is true. That. I mean, you are dealing with Bill O'Brien here. So, maybe we could just offer them, shoot. I don't even know. Yeah, give them a 5th round pick.
Brown's expiring contract.
Yeah. Speaking of which, thank God for the Raiders. We absolutely took them to town with both Brown and frickin' Martavis Bryant the last 3 years.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot about the Martavis Bryant thing. Man. So basically the Raiders are where wide receivers go to die, basically, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Randy Moss.
You have Randy Moss as well, yeah. And Jerry Rice to a certain extent.
Yeah, he was good in that.
Yeah, but I think he had still 1,000-yard season while there, I'm pretty sure.
He did, yeah. This 2001 season, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, you boys have any more questions for good Steve?
No, I'm just going to make Steve relive that moment when we were at that fake spike game together.
Dude,
that was miserable.
I talked to you after that game, Steve, and you were shit-faced.
Which Steve?
Which Steve?
Yeah.
Shitty Steve.
Shit-faced Steve.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a chirper. I love going to games and away games and chirping at them. I didn't say anything after that game because everyone there was just they were so shell-shocked, angry. And I was like, yeah, the rest fucked you, but Roethlisberger fucked you harder. And they're like, yeah.
So good, Steve. Is this story true?
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. He didn't. That's the one time. Yeah, that Shitty Steve has not talked shit after a game when the Steelers or another Pittsburgh team lost.
Greg, you owe me $5. He can read a room.
Yeah, right. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Because it was like the refs. Yeah, the refs really. I mean, I think they got that call wrong, and then it was compounded by just like a dreadful decision by Big Ben.
Just all of it. Just the fact
After,
that they had so much time to
field goal, go to OT.
Just anything else. Literally anything else would have worked.
Yeah,
But that game was
Literally
so back and
anything
forth,
else.
dude. Like the Patriots drive before that, where he just goes to Gronk over and over again, just storms down the field, just slinging it to Gronk for the touchdown, and then that
Gronk
juju drag route where he just outran everybody.
But that
And
Gronk,
that was all within 2 minutes. It was crazy.
yeah, the Gronk touchdown spike where he caught the touchdown, pointed at the guy who was covering him, who was laying on the ground, laughed at him, and then spiked it. is seared in my memory. Like that to me is Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, that was our end of the stadium too, where Gronk was spiking that. That was,
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I still owe you a trip up to, Boston next time the Steelers are up there.
Yeah, we were gonna do it this past year, but it was opening. It was super.
Yeah,
expensive.
nope, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not paying dropping $1,000 to go to that.
Yeah.
No. Probably a good decision, especially after the result of that too. That would not have been worth it for you.
No.
Oh yeah, that would have been shitty.
Yeah, that was a shit show.
That was a bad game.
Well, for you.
So many for me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I got nothing. So maybe the tables will
I
turn.
mean, I still got the Penguins the last 5 years, so it's cool.
That's true. And FSU, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad the last few years.
Yeah, they have.
Pretty bad.
You sure know how to pick them.
They had their 41 straight seasons of a bowl game snapped, or winning record snapped a couple years ago. Yeah. Willie Taggart was awful. Don't even get me started on college football.
You were so high on them too. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Well, I guess if nobody else has any questions, I think we will mercifully let you go. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you being a good sport about this and listening to
Yeah, no problem. Enjoy the reliving that glorious game for y'all and going on to win it. So
Thanks for coming on, Steve. Good, Steve.
no problem. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, you too, bud.
All right. See you later.
Bye. I gotta say, it doesn't sound like a Steelers fan, does he?
He's a hardcore Steelers fan for sure.
Yeah, he just doesn't sound like it. He doesn't talk like a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
From the South.
I don't know.
He didn't say Yince once.
I like Pittsburgh. I like the people there.
I don't know.
I've been to a couple games there. They're just
They don't like us.
yeah, it's like a hilly Boston. People are very way into their sports. You drive around New England, you see Patriot stickers and Bruin stickers and Sox stickers everywhere. Everyone's wearing the stuff. It's like that in Pittsburgh too.
Yeah.
Whereas there's sports everywhere.
Yeah, because Pittsburgh isn't really a huge college sports town, is it?
No,
have
and there's
Pitt.
no basketball there either.
But yeah, it's not a huge.
But they're like a big sports town. It's all kind of blue collar people are
Yeah.
They'll be like assholes, but they're not going to beat you up either, right? You can talk shit to people.
Holy shit! Now that you say that, I actually just had a memory because this was. I don't know why, but I think, I think we had to go back and get all my shit from Penn State. So we drove down there, packed up the van, and we're driving back. We stopped at the fucking steakhouse or something like that on the way, and it must have been. I don't even think it was in the Pittsburgh area because Pittsburgh's western Pennsylvania, right? Because Philly's east and Pittsburgh's
It's only
west.
45 minutes from Ohio.
Yeah. So we were in this steakhouse and I was wearing my Troy Brown jersey and I was in the bathroom at the urinal and some guy walks in and sees it and starts giving me shit while I'm taking a piss about, the Patriots don't even have a chance, huh? I can't believe you're wearing that here. like going on and on. All I can say is like, yeah, we'll see. Because, I was fucking 18 years old and this dude was like 40 and twice my size.
And you had your dick in your hand.
Yeah. Exactly. I was feeling a little exposed. So, but as soon as
vulnerable.
My first thought was to go back to that guy and be like, oh yeah, I bet you feel like a shithead fucking talking shit to a fucking college kid in a urinal. I bet he doesn't. I bet he doesn't even remember it.
Yeah.
But I felt vindicated, which is all.
The first game that we went to, we met these guys standing in line behind us. One was a Steelers fan, one was a Patriots fan. We were waiting for Permani Brothers, like the sandwich place. So quicker, we all sat together, ate lunch, and then we ended up tailgating with them and drinking a bunch of beers throughout the whole weekend. And then next year we got the Airbnb with them as well. So everyone's super chill there.
Nice. Yeah, and then they all fucked each other. Just one big gay orgy. Steve loves it in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I can imagine why. They're so friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably the perfect time to explain why this is the Drew Bledsoe, what did I call it? Renaissance game. So for those that maybe don't remember, we concocted this plan weeks ago. And actually, at this point, it's probably months ago. We found out that Drew Bledsoe owns a winery, and we tried to get his wine, and we're going to do this episode as a tribute to Drew Bledsoe, because this was his renaissance. So, as true Brown plans tend to go, I am the only one that actually found Drew Bledsoe wine, because it is very prevalent in New Hampshire liquor stores. You can find it in almost all of them, actually, believe it or not. And for anybody who doesn't live in New Hampshire, the liquor stores are directly off the highway, so they're very easy to get to and to leave. And we say we don't. Yeah, exactly. We say we don't promote drunk driving, yet we put all the liquor stores directly off of highways. So
live free or fucking die.
Yeah. So I was able to find it, and this is quite literally the most money I've ever spent on a bottle of wine. It is Flying B. Not V, but B for Bledsoe. The Cabernet Sauvignon 2016.
Ooh.
And for those of you,
a good vintage.
Yeah, it is delicious. And I know nothing about wine, but I decided to prime my palate over the past week with a bottle of wine that my boss gave me that was supposed to be super fancy, and I drank it, and it was pretty good. This one's better. So Drew Bledsoe.
So that's not you just gassing up Bledsoe. That's a legitimate take.
Yeah, no, Drew Bledsoe, not great on third and long, great at squishing grapes and making them ferment.
How dare you?
Oh, we'll get to it. Don't you worry.
No, we'll get to it.
So I found Drew Bledsoe wine, and so I have been drinking that steadily throughout this. How about you boys?
I have it doesn't have a year on it.
Good start. Good sign.
It does acknowledge that pregnant women shouldn't drink it, though.
Okay.
But it is a 25th anniversary California Cabernet Sauvignon with a massive Panthers logo on it from the Durham, North Carolina Harris Teeter that I ran to this afternoon with a backpack on. Ran 2 miles there, stuffed it in my backpack, and ran home.
So it's well shaken, is what you're saying.
Yes, and
which is what you're supposed to do with all wine, I believe.
That's how you aerate it.
Yeah, I'm wafting the aromas into the microphone right now. So take a deep. Oh, yep, yes. That's a nice nose it has.
It's delightful. Is that elderberry?
No, that's blackcurrant.
Oh, okay.
That you're smelling.
My
yep,
apologies,
it's a nice earthy aroma.
Yeah,
the acidity. Yeah. Is that mocha? I think there's a layer of mocha in there. Now that I'm. Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
So for reference, I took Greg Brown to a beer festival once, and only once. I'll never do it again, because he spent the entire time. Every time I got a beer, I'm like, yep, nope, Yeah, there's malt in this one. Ooh, the hops. Ooh, this one tastes like beer. Literally every single time he drank something.
Guys, mine tastes like beer. What does yours taste?
That's awesome.
Fucking beer nerds.
So that only leaves Steve. Steve, what did you end up finding in fucking Virginia of all places?
I have a bottle of Jan Stevenson's Merlot from 2010. I hear the older the wine, the better it is.
Oh, definitely.
This has been sitting in my liquor cabinet for many, many moons. Probably good 6 years.
So how did you obtain it? Well, that's what you're supposed to do with wine. You're supposed to let it sit for a long time, right?
So for those
In your
idiots
cellar.
who don't know who Jan Stevenson is, how dare you? She's an Australian LPGA golfer who's in the World Golf Hall of Fame. Dummies.
Duh.
I work at a golf company, and like there was like some stupid team building event, and one of the prizes was wine. And I answered a question, got a bottle of wine. I said, "I'll never
was the
drink
question?
this."
And here we are.
Yeah, what was the question?
Yeah, what's the
couldn't
question?
tell you.
Give us the gist.
How many Super Bowls does Tom Brady have? So of course I knew it. It was
That sounds
3.
like Gregory getting
It was 3
booed
back
at
then.
Well, Gregory getting booed at his Christmas party for wearing a Pat's Santa hat.
I got booed by the entire company.
How many people in that company?
There was like 160 people booing me.
Jesus. I'm sure you handled it well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I
As-
feed off the hate, you know?
I agree. I'm the same way.
The hate nourishes me.
I think it's a Brown family thing.
I drink it up.
Like wine.
Like Drew Bledsoe wine. So to Drew Bledsoe, everybody, for those
Indeed.
drinking at home, hopefully not in
All
a
right.
car on their commute.
See if we can hold. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you tell that I'm spinning the bottle as I pour it?
Yes.
That's all
Mine
that.
is slightly
very
presumptuous.
Ooh.
Eminently palatable, though.
Did you fucking smell it first?
Overall, an amusing firewater.
Ooh. Ooh, this is quite fragrant.
Have you actually tried it yet, Greg?
No, dude, come on. Are you an amateur? You gotta smell that shit for like 10 minutes before you do anything.
I've already had like 2 glasses, though.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, you gotta look at the color, you know?
Yeah, you got to see how like the legs of it. What are the legs
I'm
like?
in my car. I can't see the color. It just looks dark.
Ooh,
And then
DUI.
you gotta like spin your glass to see how it ripples off shit, you know?
It's
Ooh,
called
it's
the
rippling.
legs. I was just saying that. Jesus
The
Christ.
legs?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Steve.
All right, so I got some Ripple. I have to say, this is actually really good wine.
Steve probably couldn't even tell the difference between a Malbec and a Cabernet.
It's pronounced Cabernet. Do you guys remember that time we were in that French restaurant in Brooklyn with
Oh my
Ellie when she first
God.
moved there?
I do.
And Greg was ordering
I've
all
never
the
seen her
wine.
that embarrassed, and like Ellie doesn't get embarrassed, but she was
No.
embarrassed that one night.
And Greg was just taking it all the way to the max.
He ordered a Pinot Grigiotte. I remember.
Yes.
Your finest Pinot Grigiotte.
And the chicken parmigiana.
The waiter was like one of those Brooklyn hipsters who was taking his job super
Oh,
serious,
yeah.
and he hated you.
Well, they're the worst.
He
They're
hated
the
all
worst.
of us.
There's that picture of the clown in the booth that you were like making out with.
Oh, yeah.
I have that photo still.
You do.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So can you post that online so we can put it in the show notes?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'll
All right.
text it to you now.
Love it. Thank you. So speaking of clowns, how about we talk about this football game? How about Cordell Stewart?
I have more to talk about my wine.
You haven't even drank it yet. Shut up.
Yeah, well, of course not, Andy.
It's letting it
So tell-
aerate.
So
Let it
this is what
breathe.
we'll do a halftime wine review of Greg Brown's Panther wine.
Okay.
How's that sound? All right. Because let's get into this game. 2001 AFC Championship game. Even Gil and Gino are joking about how the Patriots actually finally showed up, even though nobody expected them to. And it starts off as expected, I would say.
I don't know.
What was
Patriots
expected?
were playing awesome D. Like,
actually, yeah, no, I take that back. I think
they were getting
what was
knocked on the
expected was that the Steelers would run it down the Patriots' throat, because that's if there's one criticism of this Patriots defense that we've seen, is that fucking no names are running down there. What was the Panthers guy's name? Do either of you remember?
Ooh. Let me think for like 2 seconds.
Quiz time.
Huntley.
Yeah, Hunt.
I'll take your word for it, because I don't remember it either.
Yeah, I think it was Huntley.
But just some random ass dude. And then last week was Charlie Garner, who mediocre. He was good after this year, but not this year. And
I remember Jerome Bettis was hurt though, right? He would miss like the previous 6 or 7 games.
So yeah, that was my question too. Is that the commentators kept talking about? They made this comment. I wrote it down because it freaked me out a little bit. This is his first game back in 7 weeks, and they mentioned something about a botched painkiller injection.
Ooh.
Oh, I missed
And
that.
Jerome Bettis was like, "Oh, it's the best thing that's happened to me, because I was able to take all this time off and go back and rewatch every single one of my runs to see what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong and all this shit."
Yeah, that's what someone on painkillers does.
Yeah, and
I'm going
I
to sit
think
on this couch and watch shit.
I'm gonna smoke this bowl of meth, and then I can watch every single run.
I don't think that's necessarily prescribed painkillers, Steve, unless you're going to a doctor I don't know about.
Dude, this
Well,
is 2001.
Yeah, you're going to combine drugs.
Is that
It's
right, Greg?
football. You know, you're not just doing one.
I mean, that's fair, yeah. I mean, HGH, I'm sure, right? Oh, that shit'll fuck you up. Just ask Peyton Manning's forehead.
I do remember though the first couple of like the first Steelers possession, we bottled up the bus, and I was like, I knew that stopping the run was huge for the Pats then.
Yeah,
Because
busing running on Sundays.
That's right. The school bus is not run on Sundays, and he wasn't. He was awful in this game. They kept trying to do that like pitch kind of sweep for him, and whoever the defensive end was on that side, almost always Willie McGinnis, it felt like, was almost behind him by the time he caught the ball. Like they just couldn't block the sweep for whatever reason.
Well, you got to set an edge. That's
Willie McGinnis was an
Belichick
absolute
101.
monster in this game. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But Willie McGinnis like earned his paycheck in this game.
Yeah, Willie was everywhere.
Game. It's so like odd to watch Bettis play though, because it's just like you don't see players of that shape.
It's true. He almost looks
playing running back
too
anymore.
top heavy.
He's so round. Like
he is.
There's players that are like heavy, right? Like the Derrick Henrys of the world, even the Mike Allstotts, where you're like, that guy's he's a big boy, but Bettis kind of look fat, you know?
Yeah, but like that was the guy I was trying to compare him to, was Mike Allstott, because Allstott kind of had this similar running style where he's going to run through people, and even if he breaks it past the line of scrimmage, he's going to look for somebody to hit, sort of thing. But Allstott just looked like a tree trunk. Like he's just a thick boy.
Yeah.
But Jerome Bettis, he was kind of like round. He had like legs, and then it was like
a slim down Vince Wilfork.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Because they have the very same kind of body shape where Vince was also very round.
Yeah. But moved quicker than you expect him to.
Exactly.
Like Jerome Bettis was making people miss.
Yeah, he's actually
like
had some
shooting
shake
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they threw him a screen at one point,
yes.
I was like, oh my God, they're throwing it to a lineman. And he started running. I was like, oh, never mind. That's just Bettis.
So, but, and I mentioned it before when we were talking to Good Steve, but the stat lines for Jerome Bettis are fantastic. And this one was no exception. He had, anybody want to guess his stat line?
Like 15 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown?
Oh, it's so much better than that. 9 carries, 8 yards, 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Longest run, 4 yards.
Oh.
Yeah. Not
Bus
great.
don't run on Sundays. Put it on the poster board.
Really doesn't. I think we should
well, let's not gloss over like the lightning of that Thunder and Lightning backfield.
Amos Zerouay?
Famous Amos Zerouay.
He's got to be up there in the football name Hall of Fame, right?
It's a great name. Zeraway?
Yeah.
Zeraway itself, I mean, it's basically 90% vowels, which is fantastic.
Dude,
but the fact that his first name is Amos is amazing.
There's 5 vowels and 2 non-vowels.
And one of those non-vowels is Z, which is like almost a vowel in itself because you never see it used.
And one of the vowels has one of those little accent marks.
Does it really?
Yeah, and the last E has that A, that Enye.
Oh, God. I don't know how it was called, but I don't like it.
That's why it's not Zero-E, it's Zero-A.
Oh, all right. I'll take your word for it.
It's
Pro
from the
Football
Ivory-
Reference can't handle those, so.
Yeah, it's from the Ivory Coast.
Oh, no kidding. That's pretty cool. Like, who's the soccer player? Is it Drogba? It's from the
Didier
Ivory
Drogba.
Coast?
Yeah. That's one dark Chilean.
Dude.
Have I ever told you that story?
No.
We were.
Heard the quote.
This is from college. We had a buddy that was like a surfer guy. And he was just like, your typical stoner, like always zoned out, like didn't really know what was going on. Like, yo, man, like what's going on, dude?
Just super spacey.
Yeah. And we were playing FIFA and it was like someone was playing with Chelsea. So in the scoreboard, it had CHL and it zoomed in and had like Drogba scoring a goal. And he just goes, that's one dark Chilean. And we were like, what, dude?
The fuck?
So then from then on, that's been a part of our vernacular.
I've heard you say it multiple times, but I didn't actually know the backstory to it. That's fantastic. Oh, good Lord. I'm pretty sure Chelsea would kick the shit out of Chile, by the way.
That's true.
Like, easily. So... yeah, so speaking of Chileans, the first quarter of this football game was pretty chilly for both offenses.
Yeah, we're going to do a best and worst for each quarter again.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was wondering if you had given that up, but apparently not. All right.
Nope.
All right. Sure, Steve, you go first. You son of a bitch.
Oh, well, I mean, I think the overall worst is watching Cordell Stewart play quarterback, especially when he had Heinz, Ward, and Boxco Burris as his receivers. He's either throwing it short or he's throwing it into coverage and they're making a play.
The dude can bounce a football into somebody, into a wide receiver like no other.
He looked nervous.
He did look
did.
nervous.
And, but you say that, but both of those wide receivers were over 1,000 yards.
And I'll get into the best, which I think is pretty obvious.
All right, so I shouldn't let you go first, you son of a bitch. All right. The Troy Brown punt return.
Yes, but I mean, I think everyone has seen that, and there's actually a Belichick breakdown on it. If you haven't watched that, you definitely should.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
The effort that they do on the gunner. Remember they blocked the gunner to the end zone? But which you don't really get unless you rewatch this game in full is the punt before that had a penalty on it. So they punted it, and Troy Brown kind of messed it up.
Yep.
Where he probably should have fair caught it and stepped out of bounds or something like that, and he just let it go, and it bounced, and it kept going down the sideline, and it was like on the Patriots 25.
It was a 60-something yard punt,
Yeah, there was a booming punt with a flip field position, but
because the guy punted from his end zone.
Blocked in the end zone, ran out of bounds, didn't try and get back in, so they threw a flag and made him repunt it.
Yep.
And Troy took it right out the gut to the house.
Yeah, and then on the next play, he actually didn't get off the line, and when you watch the replay, the guy that's being blocked by two guys and falling over in his own end zone, that's the same guy.
Yeah, I didn't remember his name. Troy Edwards is his name. But this whole game made me start hating him. Like I have a note way in the fourth quarter. Like I love seeing Troy Edwards fail.
Why?
And he did it a lot because he was the kick returner too.
Yeah, I just like seeing him fail.
We'll get to that.
That's harsh, dude.
A little harsh.
I felt bad for him.
He's a human being. He's got a family.
He's a human being. He made a tough play. He probably regrets that play every day of his life.
Think of how his mother feels.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe
now.
we should start calling him Shitty Troy Edwards.
Why is there another Troy Edwards? You tell me.
The Troy Edwards.
All right. I don't think.
Who am I thinking of? The receiver from the Browns.
Braylon Edwards.
Braylon Edwards.
Yeah.
He was shitty.
I was thinking the same thing too. Didn't he play for the Steelers too at one point?
Might have.
Oh, fucking no. Stat check.
Now I'm already looking up Troy Edwards.
Yeah, fuck it. All right. All right, then I'll do my best and worst.
Ooh.
What? All right.
He finished his career at the Grand Rapids Rampage of the Arena Football League.
Oh, Arena Football League was the tits.
A Troy Edwards Rapids Arena Football jersey would be sick.
Oh,
yeah.
There's got to be one on eBay. Actually, there's definitely not one on eBay.
Deep cut.
That'd be dope, though. If I saw somebody wearing that, I mean, you'd have to buy him a drink, right?
You wouldn't even know who it is. Like, who the hell's Edwards and what is this jersey?
Well, we would know, the three of us. So if any of us see that or any of our listeners see that, send us a picture and we will buy that man a drink. Or
yeah,
woman.
so it's just us.
Who knows?
Because no one's listening to this, let's be honest.
Hey, we get some listens. Nobody from our family, though, apparently, we found out recently. Nope. Literally none of our family members listen to this podcast.
They're smart enough. Unlike you idiots.
That'll keep them around. Great.
So, do your best and worst, Andy.
Yeah, well, fucking shut up and I will. My best was actually Troy Brown's first punt return.
Real original, Andy.
Dude, it was better than his second one. I mean, yeah, second one for a touchdown, but his first punt return, he was making guys look fucking foolish.
25 yards?
He broke some dude's ankles. And like he caught the ball. I don't even know what he did. It didn't look like he did a move, but the guy just kind of like fell over in front of him and Troy Brown just kind of like skipped around him. It was fantastic. So I'm going to have to find that highlight and put it on the website because that was great. And the worst was kind of every other Patriots offensive player in this first quarter because the only person that had any, I think, positive offensive yard was Troy Brown. Like the Patriots had a bunch of like false starts and shit. And like the first drive, they had the false start. And then second play, Brady got sacked. And so now it's like third and 18. Yeah, now it's third and 18. Yeah. And it throws wide receiver screen to Troy Brown. He picks up like 15 or 16 yards on the play.
Yeah.
But it's still 3 and out. So he was like the only good thing in this first half. So that was my.
I mean, this game is peak Troy Brown.
Oh, yeah. And actually, you boys were talking about, and you were patting yourselves on the back for having the same thought, which good for you. But you were talking about how last week in the Snowball was like a perfect example of Bill Belichick's all 3 phases of the game. And I will argue this game tops that in those 3 phases.
I don't know. The offense was meh. But you're right.
You're right.
Set up by a great punt.
Yeah, and also we'll get to the other. I mean the defense was phenomenal. I thought for stopping the run on the best running team in the league, and I think the offense was the perfect example of next man up with the Drew Bledsoe situation.
Sure.
And there was some executing in crunch time, if you will, like executing when exactly they needed it to happen. Like it wasn't a huge offensive production day, but when they needed to have a play, they got it. And so this was, to me, the perfect execution of the Belichick system.
All right, what was your worst?
Every other player besides Troy Brown.
Yeah, my worst was the offense. Having said all that.
Yeah, I guess Juan gets you short-term amnesia.
I guess so. All right, Greg, what about you? Best and worst, if there's anything left.
My best was Troy Brown's screen pass, which was even better than both of his kick returns. So, fuck you guys. It was great. No, my best is the Ooh, that was erotic.
I'll say some ASMR again. Get back to that.
My best is the Chris Fumatuma follow sighting.
Yeah, the only one in the game.
I love that you nailed that first time too.
Dude, I love him. He's an all-time name.
That's a
And then
version,
my
right?
worst on names is Matt Stevens. Like, brutal name. And for some reason, I don't like. I've seen him show up a lot this year, and
Yeah.
I don't even think I remembered him at all.
I thought the same thing. I remember like he started week 1 and I had a note there. I was like, who the fuck is Matt Stevens?
No, I think my favorite player name is Stephen Gregory on the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
Both my brothers.
Mine is Chris Brown because I love my mom.
Oh, hey, nicely done.
Mine's Vincent Brisby, just because that's an awesome name.
Vincent Brisby was the man. He was my first favorite Patriot.
I thought it was
Literally
Vincent Brown.
because his name rhymed with Frisbee. And I was like 7.
Mine was Mosey Tatupu.
No, yeah. That's
Good one,
Dad's
too, yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, it is. You suck up. All right, so what's your worst thing, Greg?
I just said Matt Stevens.
Oh, that's your worst? Is just the name? You just got on names. All right.
I'm making these up on the fly. You know this, okay?
We all
Literally-
are.
I'm literally looking
Fucking
at the
Steve.
rosters and making up my best and worst. Okay?
All right, well, let's get
Did
into
Matt-
the second quarter. Best and
Did
worst
Matt
thing.
Stevens even play in this game? I don't think he did.
Yeah, he made a tackle with 9:54 in the first quarter
All right.
with Willie McGinnis on Jerome Bettis' 12-yard gain.
Oof. Was that the screenplay?
I think the low-key worst was right at the end of the first quarter. Cordell Stewart ripped off that super long run.
40-plus yard run, yeah.
Dude, they hadn't done anything up to that point.
Yeah, and now they're inside the Pats 10 to start
Yep.
the second quarter.
There's like
And-
no passing game. They can't run the ball, but somehow they're inside the 10.
Yeah, and he escaped a sack on that play. It was one of those. It reminded me of when the Patriots would play Cam Newton, and they'd have him like dead to rights for like a 20-yard sack, or even this most recent season. And what's the name for the Texans? God damn it,
Watson.
Wine does give you amnesia. Yeah. So yeah, Deshaun Watson, where they had him for that sack. And
Yeah.
he broke her for a big run, and that kept the drive alive. And so it was that sort of play where they couldn't quite contain the mobile quarterback, and he runs for like 40 fucking yards. But on the plus side, so they're inside the Pats 10. The quarter ends, and so to start the
7-0
second quarter,
Patriots.
7-0 Patriots on Troy Brown's punt return. Second quarter starts, and the Steelers basically go 3 and out, and they show this stat, which I kind of want to get into a little bit because it's baffling to me.
Ooh.
And
We've
it's
been perplexed.
basically, this is the number 1 rushing offense in the league, right? With 2,000-yard receivers as well on top of it all. And the stat was, they showed the Patriots defense in the red zone was 3rd in the NFL in like touchdowns allowed. The Steelers offense, the best running offense in the league, was 29th in the NFL.
Yeah, I
In
saw it too.
touchdowns.
I didn't really put
How
that
the
all together. But
fuck does that work?
I think a lot of their rushing yards came from Stewart, though.
Maybe. I mean, he wasn't.
He had like Bettis only had 1,000 yards in the year. Stewart had like
Yeah.
almost 600. So I think it was like a combination running game more so than like
Yeah.
a ground and pound running game.
they
You
did
know?
try a bunch of design quarterback runs in this game.
And they did not work.
No, that one worked. The early one worked, but nothing else after that did.
Richard Seymour sniffed that out
Yeah.
almost every time, it seemed like.
Yeah. He had a great game.
Like he's drinking a fine wine, right?
He's just getting those aromas up in there.
So yeah, the play went Jerome Bettis run for no gain, like right up the middle. And then it wasn't a design run. It was actually a pass play that Cordell Stewart took a sack, and then he threw an incomplete pass when he tried to like scramble again, and there was like an offensive holding on the play, and it was a shitty mess. So they kicked a field goal. Now it's 7-3. And then not much happened in the second quarter other than the Pats actually started to get into a bit of a rhythm. They had a completion overturned on 3rd and long to Troy Brown where Phil Simms almost guaranteed that it was a completion.
Dude, fuck Phil Simms and his replay like guesses in this goddamn game.
Welcome to the darkness, Steven.
Fucking time.
Every time.
Oh,
Whoa.
he was. And he was like, Greg Gumbel's like, oh, remind me not to take you to Vegas next time I go, because he was
That's
wrong.
Right. But he was so adamant about his stance too, to the point where at the end of the game, whenever there was a challenge, he'd be like, "I'm not even going to say anything because I know I'm going to be wrong."
There were so many challenges too. Like no one knew what the fucking catch was.
Oh,
it was crazy to see that no one knew even 2001 what a freaking catch is.
The referees in this game were, I'm going to say, they were hot garbage, and not just like against the Patriots, but just in general. Like they made some shitty calls.
You want to hear a hot take? Yeah. Everybody complains about the catch thing. I think it's legitimately a hard thing to put a rule around.
I agree.
There's so many nuances to catches that it's, they're doing their best.
But also like
people complain all they want, but if there was an easy answer as to like, this is a catch and this isn't, we would have figured it out by now.
But there's no easy answer. I agree with that, but I don't know. You can show it to 10 people and say 7 of them say that's a catch, right?
Yeah.
Or show it in real time sort of thing.
But then there's also the other 3 people that raise hell and say it wasn't,
Yeah, but I think there's a majority of people, like, if you look at it in real time on a bigger sample, then yeah, it's a catch. That's not a catch.
So I have 2 answers to this, two solutions. One is simplify a catch to the most basic thing it can possibly be. And like bobbles don't matter, whatever. As long as the guy makes a catch at some point and has 2 hands on the football, it's a catch, and that's it. Or we go back to, we actually talked about this back, I think, in the Saints game. It was ages ago. Whenever there was a challenge this year, early on, some of the stations you were allowed to vote. So you could, I don't know if you like text in, almost like voting for, what's that singer show?
American Idol.
Yeah, it's almost like American Idol. So you can actually vote. And as they were reviewing the play, they would show the voting of America and like, those 7,000 votes and 62% say this call should stand. And I think it may have been Greg who said that they should just use that, and whatever the population votes is what the call is.
I want them to do that, but not with fans. I want them to have like a room full of refs. Or
careful what you
how
ask
many?
for. That's how we ended up with Donald Trump.
See, exactly. It doesn't matter. Solutions don't matter because someone will always complain.
That's true.
Even if they got voted in by a democracy, we go, well, it wasn't the popular vote. It's never been the popular vote. So fucking suck.
Yeah, there were a lot of replays in this, a lot of overturned calls.
Yeah, it was slow
because there was that Troy Brown call that got overturned, which probably legit. It was borderline, but Troy Brown was still like, he hit the ground, it kind of moved a little bit, whatever, great. So Patriots punt, and then the pass to Heinz Ward where he caught it just over the fingertips of Ty Law.
It was a snag.
It was a sick catch, but as he caught the ball, like his back hit the ground and it bobbled, and by the time he grabbed it again, he had slid out of bounds already. So, so they're basically even at this point.
There was the Heinz Ward fumble, which they ruled a fumble on the field. You can't even see the ball come out at all, and then they reversed it.
Because his helmet hit the ground first, which I didn't realize.
You have no idea when the ball is coming out at all.
It's true, but I didn't realize that the helmet was considered like a part of you that was down. Like I knew the knee and the elbow and like whatever, but I didn't know the helmet was part of that.
Who knows? Refs are fucking terrible in this game.
It was Ed Hockley. He had he was making it all about himself too. I wrote down a quote. Let me see if I can find it. I reviewed the play, and I can't tell whether the tip hit the ground, football or not football. So it's an incomplete pass.
There's also every time the refs would get on the stadium mic, there was that feedback loop, which made it like awful to listen to too.
Brutal.
Oh, it's even that hits even closer to home now that like I'm Zooming or Skyping every call for work, where I'm like, dude, just figure out your microphone situation.
Fucking mute. Everybody mute right now.
Yeah, when there's like
the one guy who's not paying attention is the one guy who's got the feedback.
Yeah, dude. This morning, there was this guy in Ireland that was like having a fight with his siblings on a that he didn't know his mic was on.
Oh yeah,
he was like trashing his sister. It was so funny. He's like, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know why she keeps doing this to that. So funny.
So speaking of hurtful things, the only real news of the second quarter of this game was Brady taking some low hits, which I'm gonna come out and say it, they were fucking cheap shots.
That's the only news. That's the only news of the quarter.
Yeah, I feel like you're glossing over it.
Well, hang on, we're getting there. Jesus fucking Christ!
You said, is it the only news, or is there more news later?
Yeah.
Listen, you gotta let it breathe. You're all drinking wine. You're letting that breathe, but you're not letting me breathe.
Yeah, you either it's
let
only
me finish a fucking sentence.
Oh my god.
So Brady takes a couple of cheap shots. I'm gonna say, well, actually, one of them wasn't, but he got his ankle rolled up on. Second one was definitely a cheap shot by, I wrote his name down because I wanted to call his ass out. Lee Flowers crawled into Brady's legs, rolled over him, and so
looked
Brady,
just like the hit. Maybe like a little to the side, but very similar hit.
Yeah, very similar to the hit against him from Pollard that tore his ACL, but it like got him from behind. So rolled up his legs from the back, and Brady came up limping hard. And on the play, he had actually completed a fucking laser to Troy Brown. Yeah, they were moving the ball. They were starting to get into a rhythm. Like all of a sudden, the Patriots offense was actually moving, and it was great. And they're like, oh fuck, here we go. And then Brady gets hurt, and in comes our savior, Drew Bledsoe, who I am
to the rescue
out in my car. To the rescue, literally to the rescue. Thank you very much. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking. I was looking for somebody who cheers me. Thanks. And Bledsoe comes in, and here
it happened so fast too. Of like,
it did.
It feels like, you know, looking back, I was like, oh man, that must have been like such a dramatic thing. But they were just like, oh, Brady's down and Bledsoe's in.
Yep.
And then they were like, all right, 2nd and 6. I was like,
yeah. And so this is with, I wrote a minute 40 left in the half. So we'll get to this later. I found this article of some guy who was a huge Bledsoe stan and hated Brady and wrote a bunch of ESPN articles about him. And like, this was his vindication apparently. But so he comes in with a minute 40 left in the half. And the play was a laser completion to David Patton on the first play. Like split him 5 wide and just started chucking the balls. Great.
Yeah, he zipped it.
Yeah. Second play was he got flushed out of the pocket and ran towards the sideline and got lit the fuck up almost exactly the same as he did against the Jets and Mo Lewis.
It's weird how
a late shot out of bounds, which I think there was a flag thrown, but they picked it up. Like the video that we watched kind of like skipped that part. So I don't know what happened because I saw them like throw a flag and they were conferring, and then all of a sudden it's still 2nd and 6. And I was bullshit. Again, like this happened fucking 20 years ago. I was bullshit for him. And then the next play came back and he popped the fuck up too. Bledsoe was excited to get hit.
And Brady was walking by there on the sidelines on his way to the locker room.
That was gonna be my best.
Got hit. And like
that was gonna be my best of the game. Yeah.
He starts jawing.
He's limping towards
Let's fucking go.
No, he starts jawing at the referee because he wasn't throwing a flag. And he was fucking livid. He was literally bouncing on his one good leg. It was amazing.
That's what you want from like your 2 quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Like these 2 couldn't have handled this whole situation any better.
They had each other's backs. It was amazing.
Yeah. And like think about Bledsoe, like he's literally like holding the play sheet. And then like 35 seconds later, he's in there zipping it.
Yeah.
Like imagine like that you're just from a mental preparation standpoint, right? You just stand there like, yeah, I'm not gonna play in this game, and then 35 seconds later, you're in a huddle leading up like that. You haven't played since week 2
against the best defense in the league,
and you're stepping into the AFC Championship game
in a 2-minute drill.
It's just kind of it's just like a weird like movie moment, you know?
Yeah. If you had written this as like part of Remember the Titans, I'd be like, nah, that's too far fetched. You got to kind of tone that down a bit.
They would have taken a timeout.
Yeah.
Let the crowd cheer a little or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Chucked him in. No big deal. It's Drew Bledsoe. It's fine.
I mean, that's part of Belichick's coaching philosophy, right?
Yeah. Next man up. This is what I'm saying. This is the Belichick game. This is the game of the Belichick philosophy.
Game.
It's that too. It's everything. But I think the best recipient for this happening was David Patton, because he hadn't caught a pass yet this game. And all of a sudden, this is the David Patton drive, because he caught all 3 passes, including the touchdown with 58 seconds left, which look vaguely familiar to a play we'll see next week in the Super Bowl in that back corner of the end zone.
Yeah. So Bledsoe comes in with a minute 40 left, and it's zip 15 yards, cranked out of bounds, zip 10 yards, zip touchdown, 4 plays, 7 points. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Wasn't he had a
35 seconds.
It was a third down where he had that nice touch pass before.
No, that comes later. I know what you're talking about, but that comes later. Yeah.
Yeah. This is 4 plays, 35 seconds, and a touchdown.
And then they're showing him on the sideline, and there's some guy that has like a towel up to his chin, because I think it was the first pass of the first completion that he had to Patton. He got clocked right in the chin.
Yeah,
he's split his chin open. So now he's got like a Band-Aid on his chin, and he's just like fucking badass.
And his reaction to throwing the touchdown was sick too.
Yeah.
Where he just stares at the sidelines and he gives it a "Who, me?" It was just like
as everybody's like clamoring around him. Yeah, it was that was some fucking cool hand Luke shit. Yeah.
Like, what else did you expect?
Yeah,
you know?
Of course I'm gonna throw a touchdown. What do you think?
Just so cool.
So then the Steelers get the ball back.
Well, do you remember Mom's reaction to that?
No.
Because Mom
I was working, remember?
Yeah, she was a hard Bledsoe fan.
She was a
huge Bledsoe fan. So like this whole season, she was like kind of like torn, like I love my dude Bledsoe, and as soon as Brady got hurt, she was like immediately panicked and was like, but you know how she like hides in the background? She was hiding behind the couch, like peering over and watching the game. So funny.
How did she feel about that Bledsoe touchdown?
Oh, exactly what you'd expect. She was hyped.
Oh, yeah. She was whooping up a storm, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought the end of the half was actually pretty interesting because
I had forgotten about the end of the half as well.
Yeah, the Steelers actually, they had, 58 seconds left, I think? Something like that. So under a minute, and they actually they had all 3 timeouts, so they moved the ball down almost within field goal range, and then they took a shot in the end zone, and your boy Plaxico Burress.
Like they had an OPI that pulled him back on Burress.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. And that was on the shot that they took to Burress. And Otis Smith played it perfectly. Otis Smith in this game, I thought, had one of the best games on defense. Because if you look at Plaxico Burress, that dude is a fucking he's a beast.
He's the worst in my quarter. I hate just hearing that name. And
I hate him too. Yeah.
I don't hate him, but that name just brings back memories I'd rather not remember.
Yeah. But he was like, it almost looked like he was a foot taller than Otis Smith, or a foot taller than anybody else out there, but could run past him. It almost had like he had that same kind of gait as Randy Moss did, where it didn't look like he was trying much, but he was still just running past people. But he just didn't have the awareness, I think, that Randy Moss had. And Otis Smith played him like a goddamn fiddle in this game. So they took a deep shot, and Otis Smith was just in the perfect position. So Plaxico Burress had to just kind of grab him and pull him so it wasn't an interception. So that was an offensive pass interference that pushed them outside of field goal range. And so they had to settle for a Hail Mary, which got intercepted instead of an actual field goal.
Dude, Cordell Stewart didn't even make the end zone on his Hail Mary from the 45-yard line.
This is true.
Ooh, quarterback controversy?
He couldn't even huck it.
With who? Jerome Bettis? Who was their backup quarterback?
The positive side of the field, and like he made to like the 5. He threw it 40 yards in the air.
Yes, that's not great. He was under pressure though, right?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Still, it's a Hail Mary. The one thing you got to do is throw it in the fucking end zone.
Apparently not.
I remember hating Cordell Stewart, and rewatching this game really made me realize why I hate him, because he's so bad in this game.
I never hated him. I was so bad for him for some reason. I don't know why.
It's like the quarterback you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like, they're due.
Yeah. I guess. Are we doing best and worst? My best was the offensive pass interference that Otis Smith managed to pull. And my worst was the dirty hit on on Tom Brady that caused him to get injured. Fuck you guys.
My worst was Jason Gilden.
Gilden, yeah.
He was a wrecking ball in this game.
He was a monster, yeah.
He killed a drive with a sack. He almost had a pick six, especially in that first half, and actually the whole game he was in the backfield. We had no
constantly.
answer.
Yeah.
And then my bets is I had a note here. I think when Brady came in and you see all the players around him that were excited, right? They're ready to go. They're amped up. I think if he'd been in the diva situation the whole year and had been trying to create a divide and
good point,
not taking the path he would, I don't think he would have been successful in that drive.
I agree. Yeah, just to go back to your Jason Gilden thing, he was first team All-Pro too, the only one on the team. He had 12 sacks on the season.
And he ridiculous. Had 2 in this game. Literally had a pick 6 in his hand.
He was a fucking monster, yeah. Greg, what about you?
I mean, obviously my best is the entire Bledsoe situation.
Oh, God, yeah.
With fairy tale. My worst is, I think this is in the second quarter when they were showing Brady going back to the locker room, and he was kind of limping, and one of the commentators was like, he actually looks like he's walking better than he was before. And then he starts hopping on his good leg.
Yes.
And they were like,
never mind.
Got a good sign.
Hey, look at that. Phil Simms being wrong again. What a surprise.
Yeah.
And Brady's such a fucking goofball too.
Yeah.
He just looked like a child that's been hurt but doesn't want to admit it.
Yep.
I'll walk on this, and then oh no, this ain't working.
They tried to walk on it again because he saw the cameras on him.
And it's why do you need to hop? Just walk slowly.
Yeah, exactly.
He's speed walking to the locker room.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at halftime, Greg. Do you want to do your wine review?
I sure do.
Give it to me.
All right.
How is the Carolina Panthers wine?
Well, it's got a nice syrupy texture. It's got a great nose. Definitely some earthy oak, nutty tones.
Does it hurt to drink?
No.
Okay, that's a good sign.
It slides down the throat very smoothly.
That's what she said.
Oh, we're gonna isolate that. That's gonna be the quote from this game.
It's certainly less underwhelming than the Carolina Panthers. I'll say that.
Praise. How would Cam Newton rate this?
Is Cam Newton? I bet he is a wine guy, right? Because that's
like
a LeBron,
Yeah,
By the way, that's the worst. If we can talk about how shitty LeBron is.
Oh, anytime.
Always down to that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Boston podcast.
Sorry.
Apparently, Greg has finally drank the wine. It's not sitting well.
Down the throat so smoothly.
Dude, there's so much pollen here. It's ridiculous. I feel like I'm eating pollen every day.
Oh my God, spring came early. It must suck.
It happens like 3 times a day where I get this fucking.
It's great radio.
Yeah, but LeBron, fuck LeBron, and is like thinking he's cool. You know what? The thing that LeBron did that I hate the most.
What's that?
On this.
There was like, I don't know if you've ever seen how he like pretends to be a reader, and he's like always reading The Godfather, the book. There was a situation one time where he was, you know how they like when they do like the pregame stuff, they show the players coming in from the bus.
Yeah.
Well, there's one time he was walking and reading The Godfather, right?
Oh
Which,
God.
first of all, on its face is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is.
You
Nobody
can't
reads
read-
and walks.
Nobody
He saw
does.
the camera up and he flipped the book open.
Exactly. He knew he was getting filmed, so he flipped his book open to be cool book reading guy, which is a douchebag move. Because anybody that's tried to walk and read knows that it's like damn near impossible. Your head's shaking. You can't focus on the
It
words.
doesn't work. Yeah.
It doesn't work. But then to make it worse, there was video of him earlier in the day at a practice session, and after the practice session, he was reading the book on the sidelines, and some internet sleuths look into it, and when he was reading it on the sidelines, fake reading it, obviously, he was further along in the book than when he was reading it, getting off.
Of course he was.
It's because he just opened to a random page.
Fucking typical.
Who the fuck brings a book to practice?
Oh my God.
Like, if that isn't a look at me move, then
Oh, it 100% is.
sorry.
Wait, how did we get here again?
I don't know.
Who the fuck cares? It was great.
Well, fuck LeBron.
Exactly. Speaking of people we hate, how about this Patriots Steelers game? Should we get in the third? Should we get in the second half here?
Yeah, this third quarter was tough to watch.
It was a little bit. This was the this
Well,
kind of Steelers come back a little bit. So
14-3 going into
I will
half.
say the first drive of the Steelers was fun to watch. The opening kickoff, Matt Chatham's tackle on that one. I don't know if you guys spotted that. He is probably the best tackle I've seen of him so far. But he hit the guy like at a full speed run, and it hit him so hard it bounced him back 3 yards, but he still managed to hold on and dragged him down at the same time. Like that, it was embarrassing. I think it was the same guy, Steve, that you were talking about, the gunner on the punt return.
Troy Edwards, I hate him.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, every time he touched the ball, I rooted for him to fail, and that was one of them.
And he failed again.
glad to
That was
see it.
great, yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't get
And-
it past the 20 the whole freaking game.
No, he was not a great kick returner. Or maybe it was the Patriots' special teams were much better than the.
That was definitely an
the special
advantage for
teams.
us in this game, without a
It
doubt.
definitely was, yeah. But the Steelers also had a Heinz Ward fumble overturned.
Yeah, the head touching one,
Yeah, exactly. And then literally
which
the
Phil
next.
jinxed as well.
Of course you did. I was
Asshole.
like, oh, that's definitely a fumble. It has to be overturned.
Ah!
There's no way you could not overturn it. And then it got overturned.
In his defense, they ruled it a fumble on the field. There's nothing to overturn it.
I agree with him on that one, but still, fuck Phil Simms and his shitty commentation.
Do you like his son? Have you heard him at all?
I have not heard him,
Commentating?
no.
No.
What's his name? Chris Sims. Remember
Yeah.
he played quarterback for a little bit in the
Quarterback,
NFL.
yeah.
He does
Yeah.
like commentary stuff for PFT. Is that right?
Oh, really?
Pro Football Talk? Yeah. With
Oh, no shit.
with Florio. He's one of my favorite football commentators going right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He's kind of like he's a bit of a prick, but
That's why you like him.
I really like him a lot.
Do you identify with him, Greg?
No. Well, like the good I think
Well, yeah, that's what.
he's got a good back and forth with Florio, who's like a lawyer. So he's always like shitting on him for being a nerd. So I can associate with that.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Being a bit of a prick.
Yeah. So
To nerds. I feel that.
Yeah.
who's your favorite commentator going right now?
Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like an analysis guy, like post game analysis guy.
Brian
Brian
Baldinger.
Baldinger. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Baldy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Baldy's
I love
breakdowns are
Baldy breakdowns.
phenomenal.
They're so good.
He just loves him some good blocking, and that to me
He
it
does.
just warms my heart.
He's got an amazing like gravel voice too, which like makes it
Yes.
his love even better.
Yeah.
And he always sounds hyped up when he's like doing his breakdowns.
Oh
Where
yeah,
he
he's
sounds like he's been
legitimately
working
excited.
himself up for like 30 minutes, being like, I gotta show you guys this.
He's been edging himself for like a good half hour.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm right on the edge here. I'm just, this block. Oh,
Wait till you
there
see
it
this
is.
block. Look at number 54.
Look at how his hands are extended. Oh, it's phenomenal. I love him. So yeah, Baldy's breakdown. If you haven't seen him, definitely look him up.
They're worth it.
Speaking of hands extended or lack thereof, after the fumble was overturned from Heinz Ward, the literal next play, Cordell Stewart fumbles a snap in perfect karma because the play shouldn't have been overturned.
Yeah, I have
The
a
Patriots
note.
recover.
Karma bitch.
Of course you did. But third quarter was not Bledsoe's best. He struggles on his first drive because the Patriots got the ball like deep inside Steelers territory. And not deep inside, kind of close 50.
30, 45-ish maybe.
Yeah,
Somewhere around
outside of field goal range. And I'm pretty sure this is the drive where Bledsoe does his patented over the shoulder throw.
there. Yes.
Because he started 4 of 5 for 39 yards and touchdown, and then he does that. Literally getting sacked and throws the ball over shoulder. And I thought, I mean, it's typical Drew Bledsoe, but I thought the intentional grounding call was bullshit.
It was. Even
There was actually a guy, there was a
Yes.
running back in the vicinity.
And like the only reason it was intentional grounding is because they hadn't seen him play for so many weeks. Like he'd been playing all year, but like, yeah, it's just Bledsoe. Big
Drew
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. He knew there was a guy there. Yeah, but it didn't happen. So, so they go 3 and out, and it's 4th and 7 from just outside field goal range. So the Patriots had to go for it, and Bledsoe, I think maybe still hyped up, or maybe it's just typical Drew Bledsoe, tries to throw a wide receiver screen and basically just guns it into Troy Brown's face mask.
Yeah.
Troy Brown can't catch the ball and drops it. And so that's how 4th down goes.
I remember Mom being shook at this point too.
I was
'Cause she's
shook.
like-
Rewatching this game for the first time in 20 years. I was shook. I'm like, oh, fuck.
I was
Because
okay.
the commentators started talking about how, oh, you better remember this play because, the Steelers have momentum and it's
Well, I just mean from like
14-3 and
a purely Bledsoe loving
Oh, of
standpoint,
course,
where
yeah.
she was like, "Oh, it couldn't have been better at the end of the first half," but now he's got to play the whole second half. I think she's probably secretly hoping that like Brady would come back and start the second half. And they'd be
exactly.
like, all
Yeah,
right,
just not that hurt.
no, he
yeah.
did his part.
He had his time in the sun, and now he can go back into the.
So,
I have a note here.
honest
right?
question.
Yeah.
If Brady says he wants to give it a go, start of the third quarter, and you're the coach, what do you do?
You put
Well,
it
that's
back in.
that was my question here. Like, was the third quarterback even dressed? It was Damon Heward. I saw him on the sideline. I don't know if he was active or not for the game.
I believe.
And like,
he
if Bledsoe
was.
got hurt, would they have put Brady back in? Because he looked okay in that second half ish. Like,
Yeah,
He
staying on the
was
sideline.
warming up. He was throwing passes on the sideline.
But with a bad ankle, you can do that.
That's true. Yeah. So
But you ain't-
yeah.
I mean, you can play on a bad ankle. You just can't do anything. You can just stand there and throw it.
Yeah, you're not scrambling or anything.
You're just doing shotgun. It's going to limit your playbook, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But just from
Yeah.
like riding the momentum of the end of the first half, even if he's like, yeah, I can give it a go. If I was a coach, I'd be like, you know what? Like, let's just see how this plays out. And I'd be like, Brady, we don't want to push you. We're going to need you for
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
I agree.
That's a
Super
great
Bowl,
point
let's-
because
Yeah.
literally the next drive, the Steelers drive down to the field goal range, and the Patriots actually had an interception, but it was brought back by defensive offsides.
Yep.
And the pass interference. There's a whole bunch of like defensive penalties on the drive. They get in field goal range, and this is the field goal that gets blocked, where Troy Brown scoops it up, laterals it to Antoine Harris, and he returns it for a touchdown. So
I
I'm
actually
wondering,
Snapchatted this to Steve while I was watching this game the other day, right before it, where Willie drops the pick. Right,
yeah,
they try like a little quick out route, and Willie McGinnis is right there, hits him right in the hands, and he almost has a second chance at it. And
no, that's even
had the
later in
pick.
this game though.
No, this is right before the field goal. That was that third
Oh,
down.
fuck, you're right. Yeah, because the interception
So
got
in
brought
that
back.
same
Yes.
drive, we
You're
had the
100%
pick
right.
that was negated by the offsides.
Yep.
And then Willie McGinnis like had a sure pick in his hands, hits him right in the hands that he
Twice.
drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hits him in the hands. He knocks it down to his knees, bounces up, and he still doesn't catch it.
Yeah, because I was send one Snapchat of him dropping the pick and then the field goal block.
Yeah.
And he still agreed to come on this podcast. What a guy.
Poor bastard.
But let's get
yeah.
into that blocked field goal because it's an absolutely incredible play by Troy Brown.
Is it
Like I
the
said,
best Troy Brown play ever?
Dude,
Peak on this game. The punt return, the only thing we had going in the first quarter,
Mhm.
and then obviously this play is just peak Troy Brown.
and I encourage listeners to go back and look at the video again because I like my memory wasn't what it was. Like the kicker is like a yard away from him when he goes to
When
scoop
he
that ball.
scoops it, yeah.
Like anything outside of an absolutely perfect scoop, he's fucked. He's getting tackled.
And I
But
know
he just
that
like
Belichick-
scoops it, doesn't even break stride, and then laterals it like without a thought in the next second, like a perfectly.
I don't even know how he
That's
saw
the
him.
thing, though. Like, only Troy Brown would have lateraled that because everybody else would be like, I can break the tackle of a kicker and I'm going to keep going, and he gets dragged down.
Yeah.
And Troy Brown's like, how do I make this work?
I think
He's like,
Belichick
oh, that guy's
thinks
not going to
like,
get tackled. He just lateral to him.
Yeah,
Falling
and a lot
on
of
the
people
ball.
just jump on that ball too.
Yeah, I think that's what
trying to
Belichick teaches them. I'll just jump on it. But Troy probably has enough experience like returning punts and catching them off the bounce and stuff
True.
that he read it, grabbed it. By the time he's like, as soon
And
as
he also
grabbed
knew that
like,
it didn't
almost
matter
being tackled.
because the ball was backwards. It didn't matter if he jumped on it or if he like muffed that and he didn't pick it up. He gets the ball there anyway. 'Cause it
True.
was foot down.
Yeah. So I had a question on this that I don't know the answer to. So he scoops it, right? If he then like he took a few steps and then lateraled it, he maybe went like 10 yards. If he laterals it and that gets dropped and the Steelers recover, are they first down from there? Is that considered like change of possession?
I believe
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
If the Madden video game has taught me anything, then yes.
Okay.
But I think to Greg's point of like, I don't even know it would have been like that because it was so close between him picking it and lateraling it.
True.
It wasn't like he ran 10 yards. It was like he took 1 or 2 steps, if that.
Yep.
And he was getting
Knew
tackled.
going down and just chucked it to the guy in white next to him.
I don't even know how he saw him either.
It was perfect.
It was that bang bang. It was just like scoop it, take a step or two, and then pitch it perfectly
Yep.
to the dude.
Whenever
Just-
somebody mentions the name Troy Brown, that's the first play that comes to my mind.
Well, mine is the interception against the Chargers where he stripped it.
Oh yeah.
That's number
To me,
2.
that one's better to me.
Or the interception of Drew Bledsoe as a defensive back.
Yeah, I mean that was cool for like posterity reasons, but the like in the meaningfulness of the game, that's fumble against the Chargers was just
I don't know. This is
ridiculously heads
Troy
up
Brown.
play.
This game,
All of them.
this game itself, though, he's got 14 points on the board here
Yeah.
All by himself
by himself.
and not on offense.
Yeah,
You'll also shout out Antoine Harris, local Raleigh, North Carolina legend.
Yeah. If we can find a way, I'd love to have him on the podcast because I think he's one of those. He's like that same kind of mold of that middle class of Patriots players. That's kind of the foundation of that Belichick system, you know.
Yeah, he's got like a semi following around here.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, He's a Raleigh born and bred, and there's tons of New Englanders living in Raleigh. And there's like a Patriots bar downtown where they all watch the games. And he shows up all the time and like does autographs and pictures and shit like that.
Brown, you gotta go talk to him when he does. And
dude, I get weird about like that kind of stuff.
So do I, and I'm still doing it. So fucking
yeah. Well, why don't you fucking blow him, Andy? Huh?
If we get them on the podcast, let's fucking do this.
Because I don't know. If I was famous, I'd be like, I'm sick of people trying to, you know.
But that's the thing, though. I feel like he's that class of guys who probably appreciates the attention because he doesn't get it a lot because he's not famous, you know?
Oh, he's famous, boy.
I bet he's not like going out to the grocery store and be like, oh my God, that's Antoine Harris.
That's true.
Like he can still live his life, but when people recognize him, that's got to feel good when people recognize you. You know?
Yeah, it's like the ideal amount of fame.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish I was Antoine Harris.
I want to be like a investment banker, rich, where you're not famous at all, but you just have a fuckload of money.
So, you know, so here's my thing. I've said this for a while. I want to be famous for something I've made, but I don't want people to recognize me. So I can go to a party and be like, oh, so what do you do? I'm like, oh, I made this thing that everybody uses.
You're like,
I made this podcast.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I run a podcast that's super fucking famous. You may have heard of me.
You're like the Banksy of podcasts, Andy.
Exactly, yeah. Nobody knows what I look like.
Except way less talented.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
And significantly uglier.
How many times have we booted Greg from this podcast? Because one of these times is going to be fucking.
And we've never seen Banksy, but we know Andy's uglier just by like the law of averages.
Listen, you prick. I have to put up with this.
It's statistically almost guaranteed.
Just because your mom says you look like Tom Brady doesn't mean you actually do, you fucking head.
I love wine episode.
We should do this more often. So, after the Antoine Harris touchdown, I've never heard Heinz Field so quiet, which is fucking phenomenal.
I have after that blown touchdown by Roethlisberger when he fake spiked it into a pick. It was
but that was what 13 years later.
Yep.
Yeah. But it didn't last because the Steelers would score 2 touchdowns in this quarter. A Jerome Bettis touchdown, which actually should have been a what the fuck was his name?
Zeraway.
Yeah.
He had
Zeraway. There it is.
Easy.
Yeah,
And
which was
this is what I'm
notable.
talking about. These referees were garbage, and this is actually when I wrote down these referees are garbage, was because it was clearly a touchdown, but like, oh no, he stepped out at the 2, and it was blatantly obviously it didn't. Almost similar to the N'Keal Harry touchdown against the Chiefs. It was more blatant than that he didn't step out of bounds.
Yeah, it was not even close.
Because of how many bad calls there have been in this game, or even close calls, if you will, the Steelers didn't have any more challenges. So they couldn't challenge, so they had to run a play, but they were at the 2-yard line anyway, and the bus ran in for a touchdown.
So the bus's like actual legitimate stat line was what, -1 carry, -2 yards, -1 touchdown.
Yeah, this was notable in that he gained positive yards.
Right, yeah, and scored a touchdown on it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if he got in either. Like, it looked like he got stood up.
It was borderline. You probably could have challenged that, but at this point, everybody's so fucking bored of challenging it. Like, Belichick's like, yeah, fuck it. Just let it ride. And then the ensuing Patriots drive was more of the same. It was a false start penalty to start it. Bledsoe sacked again, which brought back a whole flood of memories of Bledsoe. It was one of those ones where he just held the ball too long.
Yeah, playing patty cake with it.
Throw it. Fuck, he got sacked again. God damn it.
Happy feet, Bledsoe.
Patty cake, then shitty punt coverage because they returned that punt to like the 35. That's how they got that second touchdown.
Yep. So they returned the punt. And actually, I will shout out the punter.
Lee?
No, not Lee Johnson. It was
Ken
Walter. Yes, thank you.
Such a punter name, Ken.
Yeah.
It really is. I bet he's a single father just doing his best too.
Oh, yeah. My friends call me Kenny. Well, in professional circumstances, I go by Ken. Yeah,
I go by Kenneth.
yeah, it just feels more professional.
Yeah, so Ken Walden, but he was fucking hustling. He's the one that actually ran the punt return out of bounds. But he ran him out of bounds at the New England 32. So a few plays later, famous Amos scores a touchdown. This game's getting a little close.
Cookies for everybody. That's a good, like, Steve, you want to hear some marketing shit right now? If Zaraway scores a touchdown, free cookies for everybody. Famous Amos cookies in the stands.
Nicely done.
You like
Yeah,
that,
maybe.
Steve?
What about maybe if they miss 2 extra points in the fourth quarter, free cookies for everybody?
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
You're in a basketball game where if you miss both free throws, like everyone gets Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they do that at NC State.
All right.
Yeah.
But then you don't have the connection to Amos.
Right. You want the cookies.
This kid calls himself a marketer. Unbelievable.
All right, let's do best and worst. Come on. Fucks.
I'm about to take your job.
My best is at the last drive of the third quarter. The Patriots actually finally get their first down in the second half.
Yeah.
My worst is all the fucking touchdowns that the Steelers scored because it's now 21-17 instead of 21-3.
All right, my best, obviously, Antoine Harris. What a legend.
Yay.
Actually, no, my new best is that punt return by Troy Edwards. Like, that guy's a stud.
Plot twist. All right. It was a good punt return. I'll give him that.
It was, yeah. Steve, care to comment?
There's a block in the back that the rest missed.
That's all I got.
No worse. Fuck worse. Your worst is the Pittsburgh crowd going silent. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Battle for adversity. Jesus Christ. You're fucking Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You've been through
All right,
worse.
I actually have 2 bests and 2 worsts. How about that?
God
Yeah,
damn. All right.
My worst is
three
Kraken.
worst, Greg.
My worst is Steve Brown.
The Ty Law hit out of bounds on Heinz Ward.
Yo, that's bullshit.
Was that your best or worst? Or both?
That was the worst. Like, that was kind of a
Fuck
dumb
that.
thing. That was Ty Law. That was Heinz getting in his head. He definitely got smacked and like hands to the face.
Heinz
and all
Ward basically took his fucking helmet off with a fucking
Sure.
And they flopped.
And
hands
Ty
to the
Law,
face.
like,
Then he
ripped
flopped.
around on the bench.
I
barely even touched
guarantee
him.
Belichick was like, I don't give a fuck about that penalty. That was worth it.
He barely touched him. It was a flop.
That was bullshit.
I have on here this note over and over again, and it keeps getting like in bigger and bigger caps of like so many home calls. There seem to be a ton. There's home calls.
There weren't home calls. There's just bad calls on both sides of the ball.
No,
Yeah, I
there's
don't believe in home calls.
I do, but not in this game.
In professional sports, dude, these guys, they don't do home calls.
I disagree.
I had a worse where
Tuck
right after
rule
the
was a home
turnover,
call.
the karma turnover, Bledsoe takes the shot to the end zone, the same one that they got the touchdown on,
Oh yeah.
and just sails it like a whole other dude over the guy's head.
It
Just
was
way
like 4 yards out of bounds, so it was great.
He's throwing it
But
away.
then there was a
Sure it was.
sneaky heads up play on that third down before the failed fourth down conversion, where he got strip sacked. And it's that kind of like right on the edge strip sack, or it might have been incomplete, it might have been strip sack. And you watch that Patriots player just like come flying in from nowhere and jump on the ball.
I don't know who it was, but I wrote it down as Troy Brown because it felt
No,
like a Troy Brown
I looked
thing.
it up. I had to like rewind it and pause it.
Johnson,
to get the
wasn't it?
jersey. It was Charles Johnson, yeah.
No shit. All right.
And I thought he was Bethel Johnson the whole game.
Charles Johnson, who used to play for the Steelers, which I think is why he put so much fucking effort into this game.
And he's on the list of touchdown catches from Brady with 1.
He is. Yeah, we saw it. I think it was in the Saints game. Yeah, and it was a fucking laser by Brady.
Yo, we should do a live sporkle for Brady, like TD recipients.
All right, you've already done it once. I've
done it. Yeah. It's actually
your blog
wicked fun.
posts.
Yeah,
It's super hard because there's fucking 70 something of them.
yeah. And it's just interesting, like going through your whole sports fandom of players and being like, all right, how many receivers can you remember of your sports fandom?
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Because there's so many obscure people too. And then you'd be like Johnson, and it'll bring up like 3 Johnsons. You're like, oh yeah.
Oh, all of those, that's right. All right, Steve, what's the other worst?
My best is after Troy laterals for the field goal return.
Yeah.
They had a shot, the great work by CBS of Tom Brady celebrating, jumping on one leg.
I didn't see that.
Like,
oh, yeah. No, that was my other best for the game. God damn you.
Screaming like a girl like in Seattle Super Bowl.
Yeah, but on one leg. It was exactly the same, like jumping up and down with his hands on his head, but on one leg. It was phenomenal.
I love Brady.
He was so pumped up for this game. And so pumped up for like Drew Bledsoe and like everything that was happening. He was so pissed he wasn't in there, but he was like in a good way. It was amazing.
I got a worst that I missed from earlier in the game. The I think it was in the first quarter. The 4th and 1 situations where they bring the people out, the offense out and do the hard count,
right,
and then call timeout. I fucking cannot stand that.
Why not?
Because it never works. And it's a tease. You're like, all right, they're going for this. And then you get hyped up, and then you're like, that was lame.
Oh,
but as a defense, you're so relieved, though, right? Like, if it's the Patriots on defense and they do that, you're like, oh, fuck, nobody's going to fall for that. Fuck off.
I guess, yeah. But I just like it. Have you ever seen it work? I can't even think of an instance where I saw it work.
It must have worked at some point.
It just feels like one of those coach things where they're like, oh, I feel
like it's worked before, but
it probably worked like twice. And then ever since then, every coach in the world has been like, oh, 4th and 1, they're coming out there and they do a motion or a shift to start the set.
The Patriots did like 4 or 5 motions on this play.
Yeah, it's always so obvious. Yeah, because they're like up shift, up motion. And you're like, there's no fucking chance they snap this ball.
Well, has it ever been where like everyone in the stadium thinks that they're not going to go for it, and then all of a sudden, with like 2 seconds left in the play clock, they snap it?
That's a fucking good call, Steve. They should do that. They should do a shift, a motion, and then like
a hard count, and then the quarterback walks off the field, and they direct snap it to the fucking running back.
Yes. That's genius. You should email Belichick.
No, we should email what's his name, the pink stripes guy.
Oh yeah,
fuck's his name, Ernie Adams. Yes, we should send him. If anybody who's listening knows Ernie Adams' email.
Oh, Ernie Adams is probably listening, seeing if he can get like an advanced scouting report.
That's probably true. Yeah, Ernie Adams, if you're listening, hit us up at Patriots Dynasty 2001 on Twitter.
Yeah, and let's just send them an email. It won't have any words. It'll just be like play sheets.
Yeah. 100%. Oh, yeah. No, we've got plenty of plays that we can write up for you.
Yeah.
All right, 4th quarter.
4th quarter, baby. This is crunch time. Patriots clinging to a lead, 21-17. They have the ball. They're driving. They actually finally get a first down. This is literally the first down in the first half is on their last drive of the 3rd quarter.
Sneaky big grab by Johnson.
Yep. And then they get another, which was Drew Bledsoe on 3rd and short getting lit the fuck up. Like he does like a jump pass and it takes a shot. It would have been to the chest, but now it's to the groin because he jumped up, but completes it to the to Mark Edwards on.
There are actually a couple nice runs by Antoine in there right before that too, though.
There was, yeah. And
they got like a tiny little grip on the run game there, which I think set up that pass to the fullback.
It did. So it's that typical Patriots, run a few times, get to 3rd and short, and then convert it with the pass. Did it a couple times and got into field goal range enough that Adam Vinatieri kicked a long field goal. It's like 45-ish yards, give or take. Hit that. Pats are up 24-17. And the Steelers get the ball back. Another Plaxico Burress offensive pass interference. That's 2 in the game, which I don't think has ever happened before that I can remember. 2 offensive pass interference on the same wide receiver. But this was again going back to Otis Smith just kind of owning shit. And he was lined up on Plaxico Burress, and Tylaw was lined up on Heinz Ward just the entire game. Wherever they went, they were just shadowing them. And neither of those wide receivers had a good game.
No.
So,
especially Heinz. I think Tylaw did an amazing job on him.
yeah, I think so too. No, and there was actually one play. I don't even remember what the play was. I think it was like a run play. Or maybe it was Cordell Stewart like running for a couple of yards. But it showed in the foreground Otis Smith just kind of punching Plaxico Burress in the chest as he tried to get off the line, and Plaxico Burress just didn't know what to do with it. And the commentators actually called it out at one point.
Yeah.
And it was kind of how the whole game went. Otis Smith just kind of was too physical for Plaxico Burress in this entire game, and Plaxico just didn't know what to do. He didn't have a gun in his sweatpants, so he couldn't handle this shit.
That reminds me. One year on Halloween, I had a friend who had a Plaxico Burress Giants jersey, and I went as him for Halloween. I got a pair of sweatpants, put a shitload of ketchup all in the dick area, stuffed like a BB gun in my pants, and that one is Plaxico.
Oh, Steve Brown, you never fail to disappoint.
It's an all-time. That's an all-time bonehead move.
Oh,
it's not great.
A gun without a safety in sweatpants. I don't even put my cell phone in my sweatpants.
Yeah,
right.
A club
that shit falls out every fucking time you move.
Who goes to a club in sweatpants? By the way, like I don't go to many clubs, and when I do, it ain't in sweatpants because they don't fucking let you in.
Dude, he just signed like a huge deal too. He just signed like a contract. I feel like
that feels right. Yeah.
Because everyone's like, what's going to happen with his contract? Because he's going to jail.
Exactly.
I can't believe he did go to jail for that, right?
Yes.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
He shot himself. But still, this is America.
He discharged a firearm in a building with lots of people.
But at himself.
I mean, true.
Like Marvin Harrison has shot people and he didn't go to jail. Ray Lewis killed someone, didn't go to jail. And then this guy shoots himself and they're like, jail time.
Well, that's because New York. I bet if he did that in Indiana, like Marvin Harrison did, he wouldn't have got jail time.
Oh, for sure not.
But he's not big enough name for New York to be able to get off. Is what it is.
I mean, Tyreek Hill broke his girlfriend's orbital bone. He didn't go to jail.
Allegedly.
Just bringing that right the fuck down. Good job. So speaking of orbital bones, I guess fourth quarter, I thought the miss of the game was Drew Bledsoe going deep in his own territory to David Patton, and Patton was half a step short.
It's a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's
and
classic.
Actually, he wasn't even short, but Bledsoe actually underthrew him, and whoever the defensive back was just barely got like a fingertip on it and made Patton bobble it. And if Patton caught that, he's walking in for a touchdown. And this game should have
caught it. That's it. Yeah, he should have caught it.
I agree.
That's the classic Bledsoe upside, though, right? That was such a beautiful ball
off his back foot. Yeah, Bledsoe chucked it like 60 yards off his back foot because that's all he knows how to do.
He just spun it.
Yeah, he just hawked it.
For every throw over his head on 3rd and 7 that he gets intentional grounding for, he then uncorks a ball like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they convert a couple 3rd downs and eventually punt the ball, just running off clock at this point. And now we get into the Cordell Stewart interception section of the podcast.
Brigade.
Yeah.
I wrote a note right before this because like Andy, I'd watched a lot of the highlights and I had watched that Troy Brown like kick return and all that a bunch and the field goal block. I hadn't watched the whole game and my whole perception was like we kind of hung on at the end.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, Bledsoe made some plays, but
we'll get.
And I also remember like hating Cordell Stewart out of this. And I have a note on here: has Cordell thrown a pass more than 14 yards? And then like immediately after it, tries it. ... throws a pick. and then he immediately has another one, and both of the picks were just.
So, yeah, both of them, he just overthrew his wide receiver. Neither of the wide receivers were open.
No, the first one, his guy was so open.
Well, the first one he was actually. You're right, yeah.
Heinz Ward had like nobody within 5 yards of him.
And he chucked it like 5 yards over his head.
He was like 10 yards deep, and he threw it so far over the Heinz Ward's head that the safety hit where it was to Bucky right in the chest, and he like bobbled it. He was like, why is this ball in my chest right now?
Yeah, it was a can of corn.
Can of corn. Do you know where that phrase comes from?
I do, but I don't remember. Yeah, it's something about knocking cans of corn off the top shelf.
Yes, old grocers used to use a stick to get things off the corn, and they'd knock it into their waistband pocket things.
Yeah,
and they just knock it off the shelf and catch it in their little hip pocket
and make it look so easy.
Can of corn.
Yep.
Remember that video game we used to play? And
what was that? It was a computer game. Yeah.
Yeah,
and every single
say that every fucking time, like at least once a game.
Because we're so bad at it. All we do is swing at every pitch, and it was either a home run or a fly ball.
Pop up. Yeah,
and every pop up, can of corn.
Hey, you know where that phrase came from?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I learned it from. It's a video game. Yeah, MLB 2004 or some shit like that. It was. Yeah.
I still dish out that fact all the time.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
So Cordell Stewart throws an interception to Bucky Jones, overthrows it.
A can of corn.
Yep. Pats go 3-and-out because, Drew Bledsoe at the helm, and that's what happens right now. And Adam Vinatieri misses his first field goal since Connor decided to tell us that he didn't miss a field goal the rest of the season.
Well.
This was the one.
What do we have here?
To be fair, it was a 50-yard field goal at Heinz Field.
And a chance to make it a 2-score game with 2.5 minutes left in the AFC Championship game.
Right. So this would have been clutch. Yeah. Pushed it just left. Yeah. And he missed by a foot, if that.
Yeah, I had to know here.
Didn't miss by much.
Horseshoes and hand grenades, Andy.
On that third down up the touchdown, if we just got 5 yards or so, he probably would have made that.
Oh yeah, no, because Bledsoe took a shot in the end zone and threw it fucking
way over everybody's head.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying these perceptions on kickers are just built on circumstances, right? So
it's true.
The Steelers come back and get a touchdown here. People are talking about that missed kick.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, he made and that invalidates the kick against the Steelers because they don't, or the Raiders because they don't make the Super Bowl.
True.
Yeah.
Right. And then this whole lore of Adam Vinatieri being the best clutch kicker in the history of the game is kind of thrown out the window.
It's very true.
So it's just it's entirely built on circumstances. So that's the argument I was trying to make. It's not that Vinatieri sucks. It's just he's an average kicker, but great in the circumstances he got, and he made some big kicks.
Yeah, but give me one field goal that Stephen Gostkowski has even had the opportunity to make to win a game.
The Rams Super Bowl.
But that wasn't to win the game. That was just go up a couple. Yeah, the Giants game. That's it. He hasn't had one where he's
a tough kick. To win it. Yeah, I mean he's had a few, but you're talking about a tough kick in a really important game.
Yeah, to win it. He just hasn't had that opportunity. So
yeah, I agree.
So they missed field goal. The Steelers get the ball back in pretty good position, and I think it was maybe 1 or 2 plays later, Cordell Stewart does an overthrow again, thanks to Otis Smith undercutting the route, and it's picked off by Lauren Malloy, and this game is just about over. But it's officially over when Antoine Smith, who has averaged maybe less than 2 yards a carry so far, on second and 8 runs for 12 yards, gets the first down, game over.
Did you see how hyped everyone was when he got that first down?
Oh my God. Literally everybody.
Mark Edwards was there. They were just they knew it. It was awesome.
The entire Patriots defense went and stood up on their on the bench and started waving white towels at the crowd.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was my favorite moment of this entire game.
Yeah, that's amazing. Drew in that final huddle when the kneel down looked like he was about to cry. He was like blinking like every second.
It was so good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean they were 10-point dogs in this game.
They were, and they won it.
I'm surprised it was
Going
that
away.
low.
I was too, actually.
Like the Steelers were a wagon playing at home.
So
10 points is a lot of points for a playoff game.
it's for an AFC Championship game, absolutely.
Especially in a low-scoring league like this was.
Yeah, that's true.
So give me your best and worst for this game now.
Oh, we got a quarter.
That was no. Give me the best and worst.
Let's go the whole
Whole
shebang.
game, baby. Whole game, baby. Steve Brown.
All right, my best. I mean, there's absolutely no argument you can make against the best not being the Bledsoe story.
Fair.
You know, just the way he handled himself all year, and then to step in with like 30 seconds of notice and win the AFC Championship game.
But not only that, but the way he did it, the way he took that hit on the sideline and bounced back up, and then went and threw touchdown, which was basically the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah,
and
the replacements should be this.
I thought he was like terrible in the second half, but like rewatching it, he had some clutch throws. He had like that awesome touch pass. What was it like in the fourth quarter?
Brown. Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
That like huge third down to keep that kind of drive churning and eating up the clock. Like he actually had some bigger plays than I remembered.
Yep. Yeah, I remember just like kind of hanging on in spite of Bledsoe, but that's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
It was because of Bledsoe.
All right, so my worst is this wine.
What do you expect from the Carolina Panthers?
I was bullshitting at the beginning. I don't like red wine to begin with. So
How much did it cost?
Neither do I.
you know, I didn't even look at the price. No big deal. I want to say it was like more expensive than I thought. I think it was like $35 or something.
Woo.
Yeah. I probably should have checked the price, but I was like, "Ooh, big NFL logo. That thing's got to be like $12."
Yeah.
Like this thing looks gaudy as shit.
Oh man. You know what?
Likes the Panthers, so
That's gonna lead into my best, which is Drew Bledsoe knows how to make a bottle of wine.
he knows how to crush grapes. Let's say that.
This man has created a fantastic bottle of wine. And
You want to know something funny? Is like I didn't realize until very recently that raisins were just like dehydrated grapes.
What?
Yeah,
bro, come
And,
on, man.
dude, pickles,
Oh no.
pickled cucumber.
Yes. You know what the thing is? I love pickles. I don't like cucumbers.
I've always thought that though, like, why are pickles called pickles? And like, it's pickled onions, pickled radishes, pickled
Yes!
all of this.
That's
That's
the point I
true.
brought up when we were having
Why
a
are they not called
discussion.
pickled cucumbers?
Why not call it
Valid
pickled
point.
cucumber? And
Why
why
do
not
they-
call a raisin a dehydrated grape?
Well, it's like
Raisins
dehydrated
easier.
other stuff, you know. I mean, it's fine. I get that.
Do they
Like,
have new names?
Raisins- call it
raisins are
dehydrated.
called dehydrated cranberries.
For
I
what?
think
We call them cranberries
They're called craisins.
or that.
I'm
So I
just
get
saying.
that.
I'm just saying. You know, I feel like it's not my fault. It's society's fault. Not just for this, but for everything,
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
disagreeing.
and for all my flaws. You know.
My worst is Greg Brown's flaws and also the referees in this game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
they're
don't.
so bad.
I
They
don't
weren't
beat my
great.
wife because I'm an asshole. It's because society raised me this way.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
It's
That wine has got
baby.
you.
Just kidding. Cut that.
All right. On that note, Steve Brown, what's your best and worst?
The worst is that last comment.
Fair.
Best was definitely peak Troy Brown. Well, not definitely. I agree with Greg on
Yeah.
the Drew Bledsoe redemption story and all that. If
No,
I had
Troy
to choose
Brown's up there, though.
this is peak Troy Brown. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other plays you can pull out, right? Of like Troy Brown being this, and he's always been my favorite Patriot. But like
Yeah.
this game, is
Best game.
pinnacle
Yeah.
Troy
You want to
Brown.
run through his contributions real quick?
Yeah, what was his stat
Yeah, go
line on
ahead.
the receiving
Okay,
game?
so he had 8 catches for 120 yards.
Damn.
son.
He had the scoop and toss.
Pitch.
Yeah, for the touchdown.
Yep,
What was
and
the punt
he had
3 returns, 80 yards,
and a tutty.
touchdown. Yeah, for 26.5 yard average.
So a
That's
touchdown, 200 yards, and a touchdown pass. Essentially,
God damn. Yeah, touchdown lateral.
That's a fucking Troy Brown stat line,
Yeah, that is the prototypical Troy Brown stat line.
and he didn't make the initial Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Garbage.
And like they were talking
Garbage.
about setting the Steelers single season record with like 90 something catches. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
didn't Troy have over 100?
Yeah, he had more than that.
Yeah.
So, Steve Brown, what's your worst then? Troy Edwards? Gotta be, right?
No, I think watching Cordell Stewart try to play quarterback, man.
Yeah, as
It's
soon as he got
like-
balled up, he struggled.
Yeah. Is he what's the Bills guy right now?
Tyrod Taylor.
No.
No. He's for the Saints now, but Chargers now. But
Allen.
Josh
Josh
Allen.
You know where like you're just waiting for that other shoe to drop with him, or even Sam Darnold. You know, like you're just waiting for them, or Sanchez. You can go through the list of quarterbacks where you're just like, yeah, he's gonna fuck up pretty.
I
soon.
think Cordell will get better than them.
No, dude,
He's a
the
Pro
dude cannot
Bowler.
throw the ball, dude. Yeah,
He
throwing
couldn't throw a good
traffic,
ball, but
stuff off.
he was dangerous in other ways. Like his passing wasn't his danger. I guess. That's
And like he
I don't
couldn't.
know.
I mean, he could run the ball, but he didn't against us. So Belichick took away what
He
he did
didn't.
well and made him beat him with his arm, and then just watching Cordell try to beat us with his arm.
yeah. It was brutal to watch. I'll give you that. He was.
And at the end, that's why he threw 2 picks in the last minute, because like the only thing they had is Cordell trying to throw it down the field.
Yeah, I mean, he
And
ran
had to
for
throw it 15 yards.
41 yards, and his longest was 34. He had 2 fumbles, one which he lost. 24 for 42 for 255 passing with 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and longest of 24 yards. His rating
was
was
his, like-
45.2.
Yeah, as long as it was 24 yards, and that was probably a screen pass. I'm actually pretty sure it was to Zeraway.
Yeah, it was. It was to Jerome Bettis.
Famous Amos.
So like the dude cannot drop the ball down the field. So when it came to that, and he had to, boom, pick, done.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Although that's actually probably a best, just because he sucks. Maybe the other worst is a specific ref call where they had a huge block in the back, and they called it back because the
On
receiver
Heinz Ward because he stepped out of bounds. Yeah, it was bullshit.
Just
It happened
a
at the exact same
moment.
time.
a heartbeat before the block in the back. So I guess that doesn't count.
But it didn't, though. I don't think it did. I think if you reviewed
And
that, you would
Burris-
have found out.
And fucking Plaxico burst high steps away from that whole situation like a fucking goon.
Yeah, he did. Fucking dirty.
Bad
Heinz Ward,
refs,
dirty.
plus
Calling it.
Plaxico being an idiot. The only thing could have been if like Troy Eds would come up and chest bump them or something.
Steve, I love it. All right, well, I think we've done this game justice. And next week we have what I'm hoping will be.
We're doing spirits.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Imagine that'd be
No.
awesome.
Next week, I'm hoping we have a special guest. So we will see you for that one when the Patriots have made the Super Bowl for their third time ever, going for their first ever Super Bowl win against the greatest show on turf. So we will see you next week for that. Gentlemen, have a good evening.
Have fun at Media Day.
Yes.
Hell yeah.